Hello and welcome to the Outdoor Gibbon podcast, episode number 34. So this guest I've got on today, Jonathan Ward, and I go back a long way, pretty much to the point when I moved to Sussex and moved to my new school. Well, I met him, so that's the best part of 30 plus years ago. But Jonathan left school. He wasn't the keenest on education. He left school and he started working in the gun trade. And he's worked in some of the most famous places, from Harrods to Holland Holland. Jonathan tells us in this podcast all about his time working through the gun trade and how the gun trade's behaving at the moment and just what's going on. So hopefully you'll enjoy this. But we'll just catch up on a few bits of news first before we go too far. So where are we in the year? We are now in the end of May. The Roebucks have been in for the best part of 2 months. A lot of stuff going on. I've been out with clients and we've shot a few. Still plenty to be going at. The season seems to be running away with us. The cover's getting very high already. I know that the pheasants are well and truly underway at the rearing field. There's many thousands of birds in sheds at the moment. It won't be long before we're catching those up and getting them away to their new homes. For all these keepers to start the painstaking task of keeping pheasants and getting everything ready for an imminent shooting season. July is just around the corner, and we'll probably be starting early on some stags that we've got out on the hill. There's quite a lot still sitting around, and we thought we might clear up a few of the not so good ones, probably in velvet, before the season gets really underway. And then it's a busy season with lots of bookings. I think Tom's definitely fully booked this year, and potentially I'll be down there helping out quite a bit. I think we've got grouse days as well and some walked up pheasant days on there at the same time. So yeah, it only feels like yesterday that we were fighting gales and fighting in bad weather and snow just to be shooting these deer on the hill, and all of a sudden we're now coming up to, well, it feels like a very warm summer. It could change, it could be miserable and wet, but at the moment it seems to be on the route of being incredibly warm. The last few days certainly have been. So a few other dates for the diary. I will be hopefully at the Game Fair, which is going to be down in Oxfordshire, I do believe. And then I will be at the Scottish Game Fair at the same time, afterwards. Again, so if you are going to either of those, pop along, say hello. I will be on Ray Ward's stand at the England Game Fair, and I will be on CC Powell's stand at Scone. So feel free to drop in, say hello. If you come to Scone, the chances are I might try and sell you something, as I'm actually helping Chris at CC Powell out with selling products. So yeah, look forward to seeing you all at those times. Remember as well, if you want a podcast sticker, drop us a message. We've also got those beanies still for sale. We need to get a website sorted out and actually get the merchandise up. And the hoodies are coming through, so something to keep you warm in the winter once we get those in play. Anyway, enough of my random ramblings. Let's get cracking and have a listen to Jonathan Ward from Ray Ward Guns. Hello and welcome to the Outdoor Gibbon podcast. I have got a very old friend of mine, Jonathan Ward of Ray Ward Guns. We go back to when we were 10 years old, I think, at school. So about 30 odd years, if not more. How you doing, Johnny?
I think we've both got a bit more facial hair since then as well.
I think, yeah, a little bit more, but it still feels like yesterday when we were chasing around the quad at school and stuff like that. But yeah, I think things have moved on a bit since then, and I think you're obviously still down in Sussex, and I'm way up north in the arse end of nowhere in the middle of Scotland, kind of thing.
Yeah, I always remember growing up because your parents used to live not far from Ray Ward himself.
That's right, yeah.
And you were on the road there, and you always had, it was Defenders in the air. It was a particular car you had always.
Oh, it was my parents were very keen on their old Volvos, so we used to have a load of old Volvos.
I remember you were at the top of that hill. I remember it really well. You going through there.
That's right. So yeah,
I don't think listeners know that we're both privately school educated, aren't we?
We are, yeah.
So I got a little bit of an anecdotal story behind that. When I went for my interview at EJ Churchill's with Edward Dashwood and Rob Fennick, throughout the whole process of the interview, they kept banging on to me about they've had lots of public school boys leaving school in the gun room only for a year that didn't put it on because obviously they were posh school boys. They used it as a little gap stop for their next job. And I said, Jonathan, what do you want? Someone like you, someone that's been in the trades, man and boy, council estate, off the thing, wheeler dealer, bit of a Del Boy type character. And they went on and on and banging on about it. I never had the heart to tell them. Actually, I went to Hackles Park School in Box Hill. My education cost tens of thousands of pounds. But somehow I managed to convince them that I was a council estate lad and that I was a wheeler dealer. And it wasn't until about a year into the job I actually told Rob and Sir Dashwood that actually I went to public school boy, had quite expensive education that I managed to not use at all.
That was you through and through, though. You literally, you could have pulled it off even at school. I remember little Johnny Ward, always into his football, and that was it. It was one of those things. But so you in the gun trade. Let's talk about that. So obviously after school, where did your path take you? Because obviously your dad was a big shooter, your granddad was a big shooter. How did you carry on with this?
My dad did a right number on me. It was a classic situation where I was a Saturday boy in the dad's shop, doing the cartridge at the weekends, and earning a bit of cash in hand. And I remember being at school, and each Saturday night I'd have a brown envelope with some money in it, and none of my mates did. And Dad was like, "Well, forget. Are we allowed to swear on the podcast, Pete, or not?"
Well, you can do. I'll just put an explicit on it.
I was going to put technical gun trade terms like fucking shit in it. I don't know whether to do that or not.
You can do it. It's no problem at all.
Oh, okay. Where was I? Yeah, so I'm about leaving school. So I had this money each weekend. And none of my mates did. So my dad's like to me, "Well, Jonathan, you're not very good at school. I think you come out of it, and we'll put you into being a gunsmith, and then you can be a gunsmith, and you have a proper trade. But you haven't got to do school anymore." So I left school at 15 or 16 years old with no exams. Went straight to gun college. I'll never forget it. Tony Saw, who, funny enough, is a gunsmith right by our shop, was a gunsmith in our shop. And I was put to apprentice with him, had over 8 balls on, had my own bench. And within, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks of me working alongside him, stripping down side by sides, he turned to me and said, "Jonathan, you are a lovely, lovely guy. You're shit at this stuff. Go to the front of the shop and sell them." So that was my very short and brief gunsmithing experience. So after that, I was in the shop. I literally remember had to be at the very, very bottom. I was quite lucky. Even in my early days, I had Tim King as a mentor, who's now managing the Bretta Gallery as a mentor, and a few other real good ones. But I had to start at the bottom. I think because I was the boss's son, it was very much like, you're not going near the guns. The closer you get to serving guns is taking guns apart and cleaning them, taking out chokes, loading out cartridges. So you learn the basics of shooting from the very get-go, handling lots of guns, taking lots of guns apart, putting together. And it really is the best way to get yourself around shotguns, taking them apart, cleaning them, making mistakes, over-tightening chokes, under-tightening chokes, not cleaning them properly, to learn how it all works and how to measure chokes, how to take them apart, how the different guns mechanically take apart and how they put together again. So that was a really good grounding for me. And I did that for the next 10 years or so. And it wasn't until I was lucky enough to work in Harrods in 2008. So sort of and I was really, really lucky that I got approached by Beretta and GMK to open their concession in Harrods, which was on the 5th floor of Harrods at the time. There hadn't been a gun room in Harrods for 40 years, or that was around that sort of time at the time. So I was there to open that up, which the main attraction, I think, really was to get near all the Harrods birds. but what I didn't realise, it might have changed now, but at this time, as you go into Harrods, you've been there, all the beautiful girls are on the perfume floor, and the higher you go up in the building, the less it goes like the girls on the first floor. And I was on the 5th floor sports floor, so the choice wasn't that good. But I'm sure they weren't pleased with me either. Being the first, they used to call me Beretta Boy in there as well. I always remember that, Beretta Boy. I only did it for a year. It was quite a tough curve because no one was going into Harrods to buy guns, so you're a little bit of a tourist guide.
Right.
So people, I'd tell them about the sport and about Beretta and about the sport, but it wasn't that prolific for sales. The clothing and accessories, however, went really, really well.
And what were the main sort of the clothing line that Harrods would put out for obviously with the gun line, what was the main line of clothing that you were selling?
It was shooting jackets. It was tassel shirts. It was lightweight trousers. It was tons of ties. A billion baseball caps.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
baseball caps used to go out as well. But it was quite a small concession at the time. It was probably only about 20 feet, 25 by 10 feet, with a little gun at the back, which was about 10 feet by 10 feet. So we had about 30 guns in there. So it was quite small. I think it's got a bit bigger since, and it's run off the back of the gallery. So I did that for a while, and then back into Ray Ward. We also, Ray Ward at the same time, had a shop at the West London Shooting School, which I ran from 2001 to 2006, which was really good. I was in my early 20s. It was my first sort of manager's job I got, and that was really good fun. And that's probably where I started to touch on shooting schools, working alongside shooting schools. And at the time, at West London Shooting School, they had Alan Rose as a famous gun fitter. They used to do all the gun fits of Purley's at the time. And I was lucky enough to serve some mega stars like Eric Clapton, was one of the ones most sticks out for me. Ross Kemp was quite a good keen shooter as well.
All right, yeah.
I managed to serve him. The drummer from Pink Floyd was in there as well, Mason. So that was quite cool as a young 20-year-old to run that. And also that put me right in the forefront of clay shooting in terms of, at that time, West London Shooting School was holding world championships there. And a little way down the line, we had Andy Castle, who had a little pay and play clay shoot, which is still going today, fair enough, West London Sporting Targets. So I had a real mix of high-end game shooters throughout the winter. In the summer, we'd have all the clay shooters. So that shot was really, really good in terms of picking up both sides of the business, game shooting and clay shooting.
Right.
It's now run by Sport Hum, but that was a really good shot. We had some tough times around 2006, 2007, and we went into administration. At that point, we were purchased by a billionaire called Dr. Jim Hay. He's a very Scottish doctor in chemical engineering. Had a company called Hodrock. Anyway, he purchased Ray Ward Gunsmith sort of and kept us the name very much afloat and kept our store in Knightsbridge going. But he also went uber luxury as well. So Ray Ward started to commission their own guns made by London gun makers. So basically London made guns, handmade in London, engraved in London, very, very pricey. Put us right up there against Holland's Purley's Boss. And we found that market really, 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 really tough as a relative new boy. Even though as a retailer we're 50 years old. In the gun that's nothing, you know. You're a baby. So that was quite tough. And that brings us sort of 2016, where we established Ray Ward, where we're getting lots of top end guns, but they didn't want to put in the bottom end guns that came in part exchange into the Knightsbridge shop. So they decided to have a feeder shop, which I was going to run, which was called Hayward's Guns, where you and I.
That's where we crossed paths again, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah, in 2000. That opened in 2011, and that was a real good fun. I was on my own. I was in the field in Sussex, but back home, and I sort of have had free range. So that's when I pioneered the open day ideas. I nicked off other gun shops, and we did our own label cartridges. And we're very lucky to have George Digweed as our brand ambassador. So I used to invite him down sort of every month or so to shoot balloons from the hip.
Well, funnily enough, you say that, and I did actually find some Hayward's Busters on the shelf the other day. So I still have a box, a couple. Well, I think I've got a slab actually of your Buster cartridges.
Oh mate, they're probably worth about £2 on eBay.
They probably are. They're probably worth something, or they give you a sore shoulder, whichever way. But no, that shot was a lovely shot. It had everything, didn't it? You had a good range of shotguns. You had a good range of clothing in there, and obviously as you say, the open days were always quite good. I think I came along to a few of them, and it was lovely. Everybody just got on, and it was a good fun kind of day.
Yeah, that was really good. And it was at that point there that I started to make my own name to a degree in the gun trade and sort of get noticed, and obviously not being under the Ray Ward flag, being Hayward's Guns, I was a little bit more noticeable. And it was at that point as well where I started talking to EJ Churchill's about the possibility of joining their phenomenal team, phenomenal shooting ground. And at that point, they were really on the rise. And I had whispers that Dr. Hay wasn't going to continue with that particular shop. They had other plans for the actual location of the shop. So it just seemed to all the sort of the moons aligned. Actually, it was quite hilarious because Dr. Hay wanted to make me redundant to close the shop, which he did. And then half an hour later, I found out I was going to be a father. So I got made redundant, and I found I was going to be a father in the same half an hour. So that was a massive high and a massive low.
Wow. Yeah.
I remember that, but it did spur me on to sort of get myself out there and not rely so much on the family business anymore. And that's when I spoke to Rob Fennick at AJ Churchill's, and very lucky enough went out there for the interview, was the barrel boy, and got the job. And that was really good to sort of go out for the first time on my own to such a good shoot and a really hungry shoot. The one thing I'll always credit Rob Fennick for is he's got incredible hunger and drive, and the word no is not in his vocabulary. So wherever you are in your shooting career, he'll help you. You know, if you turn up there as a new shooter or very established at EJ Churchill as a shooting guy, are very, very good and very accommodating. And I think that's why they're at the top of their game at the moment. I was lucky enough in the gun room to work with a guy called Chris Cloak, who used to shoot OT. He's unfortunately in a wheelchair. He went to bed one night with cold symptoms and woke up paralysed from the chest down. I mean,
Grief.
Horrific story. But I always felt a real leveler to go into work each day with someone who's in a wheelchair, and no matter how bad you think it is driving to work in traffic or being late or having a row with your missus or having no money, nothing compares to what he went through daily as a daily struggle. But it's a guy with great humour and great knowledge as well. You know, we used to do all the gun fits at Churchill's as a two act. I do all the outside, taking the customers out to watch and shoot. He do all the theory stuff, all the measurements on bits of paper. But really knowledgeable. And that was a brilliant time in my career. Learned so much in 3 years being outside the family business and in a different environment where I sort of had to start from the beginning of the game. And the real driver at that shooting ground is a lady called Victoria Tetley, who doesn't like profiling her, but I'm deliberately going to mention her on the podcast just so I can tag her in and say you're in it, because she hires one of the better, but she's one of the real powerhouses there.
Right.
But that was a great experience, and that led on to Holland Holland.
I was going to say, because that you ended up there, and I was quite jealous because obviously they had their is it Churchill's or Holland that have, no, it's Holland and Holland that have got their cinema, isn't it?
Yeah. We can still get you up there. Now you're famous, Pete. We'll better get you easy up there.
Very good. I'm looking forward to that.
The outdoor giving's coming down. So that I sort of, the phone rang one day, and it was a headhunting lady to speak to about buying a gun. I managed to speak to her, got the interviews for Holland, and managed to get the job. I didn't want to go because I was very, very happy at Churchill's, but I was also, because I had a young family, I couldn't convince the family at that point to relocate to High Wycombe. So I sort of knew that if I could get a job in London, I could just train it into London, train it back, and it'd be life. But neither I thought the trajectory was right as a thing in terms of my status and being in the Holland gun rooms. You know, so obviously a world famous brand, one of the most iconic English brands of all.
Yeah.
Is if they come calling, it's very hard to say no. So I didn't, and I went there. It was sort of a tough experience because it wasn't really a world renowned for clay shoot. I just spent 3 years at Churchill doing all the clay shooting. I shot clays myself throughout my whole career. To go into a predominantly side-by-side manufacturer and also a big-time rifle manufacturer wasn't really my skill set. It was quite tough. I went ahead and go, and also unbeknown to me, before I was even there, the business was for sale. Chanel were looking for buyers or looking to offload Holland Holland. So I sort of went into, not, I want to say a sinking ship, but it was definitely a ship that was just about floating with no real future in its path. So that was quite evident once you're inside. They weren't really buying stock. They were very cagey about redeveloping any part of the business in terms of infrastructure. I remember they wanted to rewire Bruton Street, and they wouldn't do it. And I always found it weird. Like, okay, Chanel's behind it. It might cost tens of thousands, but it's Chanel. They've already burnt £6 million a year on it.
Yeah.
Be another. So I sort of had but also they had such great people behind them and great manufacturing. The factory, if you've ever been in Kensal Rise, is it's like a historic museum of hallowed ground for the gun trade. It's a Victorian building built on a hill, Kensal Rise. Obviously, at that point, there wasn't much. When they built it, there wasn't that much electrical lights. They only had it on a big building, had natural sunlight going into all the floors.
Oh, okay. Right.
Nowadays, you wouldn't have a factory over 4 floors with lifts and stuff. It'll be a flat bed factory, but it's the Victorian factory. And nowadays, they're not making anywhere near the number of guns they made back then. So it's quite a weird experience just having 1 or 2 people on each floor of this massive factory in Kensal Rise. But I really enjoyed my time there, seeing how they make guns, seeing how the top end gun makers work, and being around the shooting ground at Holland Holland, which is really nice. Like you said, they got that cinema there, which again I find frustrating that I haven't managed to get it more busy than it is.
I was going to say, because cinemas in Scandinavia and places like that everybody uses them. They are one of the places that people go to train, to get their eye in, to test out a new gun. Anybody that's listening that doesn't know what a cinema is, basically it's a video screen where you can take a full bore rifle and you actually shoot at the screen, and then there's some clever electronics and camera work that basically works out where your target goes, where your shot was, and the computer basically tells you whether you hit the target or not.
It's only, I think it's the only one that privately owned or it's non-military that you can go and shoot. I think
that's right.
To military ones, maybe it's price point. I'm not sure, but it never seemed to fulfill its potential there. When I was there,
I suppose it's one of those things though. In this country, we don't really do we don't do driven shooting. Whereas obviously the Scandinavians and the Europeans, driven shooting is quite a big thing. So I suppose going to the cinema is cheap when you want to join a syndicate to go and shoot boar or other game. Whereas in this country, it's kind of one of those. It's a bit of a gimmicky type of thing, I suppose, unless you're going over to Scandinavia to do it.
I always thought if I was going to shoot some dangerous game, I probably would like to spend like whether it is a 300 quid or whatever it is to get myself going. Actually,
I was going to say,
the reason why I remember one of the selling points that I was told during Holland Holland was that the reason why they want the Holland Holland 375 double is because it's just bomb proof. It's not going to misfire, because you don't want to misfire in Africa with dangerous game, because it might be the last to pull the trigger.
That's it. When you've got like a Cape Buffalo racing towards you, you want to pull the trigger once. I've hit it. It's not stopping. I'm going to do it again. Yeah, that's it. It's down. Yeah.
But you don't want any misfires, I suppose, do you? You don't want anything to go wrong.
Nothing to go wrong at that point, because it's you and some very angry thing coming towards you.
And it was always nice. I think for anyone that's been saying Holland, that Royal Action is the most copied side by side action. Now today, Gruder still make it the same. The AOA number 1, number 2 is the same. Arietta copied it as well. It is the most copied side-by-side action. Right. So if you're looking to buy a side-by-side, you probably end up.
It's all right. We're still there. We had a slight technical glitch.
So that was the Holland Holland experience.
And so you obviously left there. What, back of 2020?
No, it was 2020. 22, I think, or 23. So back to my dad got diagnosed with throat cancer. He's in full remission now, so it was all good. But at the time, it was very touch and go. And also, to be fair to my dad, he'd re-got Rail Guns back from Dr. Hay, and just started out very, very small in a local shooting ground called North Hall.
Right.
Right again, East Sussex. It's a really nice family-run club. Hamming and chips for breakfast, 70 bird sporting competitions, skeet, ABT, and some compact sporting layouts.
Right.
Really club. It's where Charlotte Kerwood, our famous Commonwealth girl medalist, her dad runs it, and she practices there as well. And my dad just put a little pop-up shop there, and he just got lots of traction, lots of business. And then he went into a purpose-built business park, put a container in full of guns, and very quickly outgrew it and said, Jonathan, you need to come back, because it's getting too big for me. And I think I'd sort of, with Holland Holland and Churchill's, I've been in it a lot, and obviously having to be managed and take orders is not my forte. So I just thought, actually, do you know what? Maybe it is be nice to come back, make my own mistakes, make my own things, and answer to myself a little bit, and be work for the family name again, and also just have a little bit more time with my son, being a little bit closer to work, a little bit closer to my son, be able to go and see him on the 4 o'clock after school swimming, or go and see him play football on a Saturday morning isn't such an issue now. When you're working for the family, I suppose that's one of the benefits. The minuses are you don't get paid as well. You're never off duty. You're 24/7.
Yeah.
And if you don't sell stuff, you don't get paid. There's none of this stuff, you know.
No, that's the only kind of downside to running your own business, isn't it? It's it's up to you. You've got to be there to make it happen.
Yeah, and if you don't work, you don't get paid, you know.
But I suppose it has its benefits, because at the end of the day, you know that everything that's coming into the business now it's kind of from your hard work, really.
Yeah. And there's also, you know, you can. I bet we like to think, hopefully now it's in our hands of control now. It's in my dad's and my hands now to make sure it thrives or doesn't thrive. You know, it's up to us.
Yes.
Whereas when you work for these big companies, and you can be ruled by committee to a degree, or you can have directions that you may not want to follow. But I've been very, very lucky in terms of the people I've worked with and worked for. I've been very, very blessed. And it's given me a great standing. And also now, whenever I go into a game fair, or I'm always welcomed back nicely to Churchill's and Holland. So I've been really, really lucky. Made sure you've ended your career well, and I think you can spend a long time making a reputation for yourself, and you can destroy it in minutes if you're not careful.
No, absolutely. And yeah. So let's talk about the shop then. Obviously, your shop predominantly sells shotguns. You've got some clothing in there.
Yeah.
And I think you said you had an air gun range. So if there's anybody down in Sussex that's looking for somewhere to go and plink, obviously you guys have got something that's quite unique.
Yeah, we've got a 20-yard air rifle range. I've managed to find a local air rifle shot who's a bit of a range master. He's absolutely encyclopedic knowledge of air rifles and range master, and he loves putting up little targets. And he's really, really good safety officer. So if you've got any young children, we've had kids as young as 8 and 9 there from the very get-go with junior rifles with low springs, just to get them handling firearms, handling air rifles, because obviously that's the future, isn't it? And
it is really.
It does feel like a precarious stage that the gun world's in now, isn't it? In terms of new blood coming through, it does feel like we do really need to look after the next generation, because it's going to be tough.
Yeah, well, with the Scottish law changes, obviously now that all air rifles are on license, you can't just, as a kid, we had an air rifle, no problem at all. Didn't really matter what age you had an air rifle. For a child in Scotland, they have to be 18 to have an air rifle. You can actually have a firearm or a shotgun at a younger age, but you can't have an air rifle until you're 18.
That was
It's just a joke, really. But that's how, well, when you look back, most of the Team GB, actually quite a lot of Team GB actually comes out of Scotland through the universities, through shooting, through all of those sports. So whether we'll see a massive change, but is this just the future? And as you say, it's becoming harder and harder for us to bring that next generation on.
Yeah, it's really, really tough. But I think we all do our little bits when we offer kids to shoot for free, just to get them going. That includes pellets and gun hire and stuff, just to try and a bit greedy in me trying to get the parents in there to buy a bit of clothing or look at buying guns. That's how it works. It's sort of the Happy Meal McDonald's marketing strategy.
Absolutely, keep the kids happy. Mum and dad buy something.
That's it. Yeah.
But so the next thing is obviously have you seen a big trend in the market in terms of shotguns? Have we had is there still an uptake of people going out to do clays and game shooting, or is it dropping off suddenly?
I think the figures of new grants is like record numbers of grants coming through.
Right.
But what they don't tell you is how many people don't renew. So I've always felt as much people seem to join. So though we think, oh my God, there's so many grants and licenses coming in, and we can't get the grants quick enough because the police aren't operating to the best because obviously they've had cutbacks as well. I think the numbers are pretty steady. The only thing that really worries me, Peter, is the state of the game shooting now. We had nowhere near the little days we had. I think the terms of the 100 bird days or the 50 bird days are in real trouble of being extinct. Whereas only the big estates are putting down thorns and those little ones are suffering.
Well, what is it? It's like buying a pheasant poult. I think pheasant poults have come down this year, but I've heard prices already. I was down in Leicester talking to the guy down there, £6 down to £5.50 a poult. But then that's not still equating when you get out actually on the field where there's estates wanting £60 a bird plus the VAT.
Yeah.
And suddenly 100 bird day becomes very expensive for your average person to go on.
Yeah, the disposable income to find that sort of money to shoot pheasants for a day is tough, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, and I think that's it. I think the little farm shoots may stay, but the actual small commercial shoots are probably their days are numbered.
Yeah. I know here we used to Balcombe. That's a fantastic little shoot round in here. They did high any days last year.
Yeah.
When that many days available. So yeah, it's that's a worry. I can't speak well enough about it, but it just seems from what people come to the shop and say that's something we need to be really concerned about.
But obviously, the next thing on top of that, though, we've got is the potential the lead ban, which for the old guns that a lot of your clients will have used, they're not they're not steel rated, are they?
It was frightening, and I had a slightly different view on it. Is that I always felt, like you just said, if someone's willing to pay £60 plus VAT to shoot a pheasant, why would they not buy a bismuth cartridge or a tungsten matrix cartridge, which, okay, it's £6 the price of lead or whatever, it's 4 times the price of lead, but it's still going to be the cheapest part of the day, and you're not going to put a substandard ammo, which I think still is, into your beautiful handmade shotgun built in the 1930s. But they ignored me or ignored the advice, and they'd be in Holland Holland, stripping out all the choke, making it quarter or cinder quarter, just so they could put steel for it. I thought it was mental. And we all rushed out to build steel barrels because everyone else did. It was like, it's not even here yet. America will probably never come in, which luckily is a big part of the market.
Yeah.
And it's I heard this week as well that bioammo's gone out of business.
Oh, has it?
Yeah, I heard that this week. That was quite sad because that had quite a nice cheap alternative, didn't it, to it?
Yeah.
But they didn't survive. And I'm hoping that at some point the cartridge manufacturers will come out and say, we've got this wonderful alloy and it's non-toxic, and if that comes in, it'll only be, I don't know, another 25%. But it doesn't look that way, does it?
But even the price of cartridges, it's like you used to be able to buy like a slab of 1,000 cartridges to go clay days, and it wasn't expensive, and now suddenly it's doubled in price. It's kind of one of those things again. I was talking to another lad the other day to do a round of clays. If you wanted to go and do a 100 clay day or something like that, suddenly it's an expensive day out. By the time you've bought the clays, put your cartridges in there, had a bacon sandwich in the morning, you could be looking at £100 just for a morning out.
Yeah.
And it's kind of crazy, really. But yeah, gone are the days of you'd nip out and do a round of clays and it wasn't going to cost you a great deal.
I know. No, it's big money now. Big money. The prize money has gone down.
Well, that's it. If you were doing it for prize money, exactly. Yeah.
If you've got a kid out there that's good at it and you want to earn some money, don't take him to shooting. Get him playing darts like Luke Littler. I'm going to take my dad to the pub and just get him playing darts all day now.
Yeah, but then you can't go to the pub anymore, and it costs you £5 an hour for a pint. So you're lost whichever way you win, aren't you? At that point,
I think £5 is pretty good, mate. Yeah. I think
it wasn't a particularly good pint, but there you go. I suppose you are further south than me, so it probably is more expensive. You probably need a mortgage to get a pint down there.
It's like £8. Someone's telling me for a packet of nobbies and a pint somewhere.
Good grief! It's just mental. It's like you don't go out with 20 quid in your back pocket anymore, do you?
Yeah.
But so the shop's doing well. Other than that, but it's just a bit slow. I take it at the moment. Obviously,
I think we were saying before the recording started was this we're a little bit, I wouldn't say off the beaten track, but we're not that near a main motorway. So we're sort of 15 miles south of Gatwick Airport. The
Right.
last 15 miles is all little A roads with the worst potholes you can see. So getting people with that little bit extra has been a bit of a challenge. But we'll keep battling for. I mean, these shops take time. I remember at Hayward's Guns, years 1 to 3 were very, very sporadic, and there were some tough weeks. We've had some tough weeks. We've also had some great days as well. So it's on hopefully it's on the right trajectory.
So are you going to any of the shows this year?
We're doing all of them, but you're going to come and join us, aren't you?
I believe so. I think I'm coming down to the game fair to start with, and then we'll discuss the rest of them after that.
Yeah, we've got Costa del Tent. You're going to stay on Gunmakers Row.
Absolutely. It sounds like a plan. I snore badly. You'll have to ask the last boy I shared with.
But I've got to tell you, mate. Since from the start of my game fair experience, I must have done over 100 of them. The toilets now are really good. Showers are really good.
Well, that's the main thing.
It's the Gunmaker's Arms, so you'll be right.
So how do you find? Obviously, you've done a few game fairs in your time. Obviously, the game fair's changed quite considerably as well. Is it a good place for selling? What's your sort of the best thing that sells for you on those days?
I've always thought it's a strange place to buy a gun as a customer, because you're going to go there. You're going to go into a situation where it's normally very hot or very wet. You won't have a lot of people. You have a lot of people around you all the time. We're looking at guns. You won't have a great deal of time with the salesman in terms of one-on-one service. So I've always thought it's a strange place to buy a gun. However, if you know what you want and you know what budget you've got and you want to see, I don't know, 15 Brett 682 Gold Ds, then you might be in the right place to do it. But in terms of going there for service and listening to what you want to hear and not know what you want to do for your first gun, I think it's a strange place to go. But if you know what you're doing, then you've got all the big dealers in the same place at the same time. But nowadays, because of the way the Google works and Gun Trader works, if you think you're going to go to pick a bargain, you're wrong, because the bargains are there all day long. They're gone in the days now where a gun dealer can nick a gun off you and sell it cheap. The internet now is so powerful, you can price check literally as you're speaking to someone.
Yeah, so, no, I think everybody said that the day of the game fair, the show deal and all the rest of it, it just doesn't really happen anymore because, as you say, somebody gets on Google straight away and you've already found that, yeah, I can get that this price.
A lot of the gun dealers like me actually get a bit offended if you come up and try and lowball us. So what you do with that, mate, you don't want to take it home with you, do you? Like my colleague Spud, he's got zero patience. He's like, I'd much rather put this in the box right now than send it to you and take it away home to myself now. He's always had 3 days of people trying to knock him for money.
It is crazy, though, but I suppose that's just the way it is. Once upon a time, though, that's probably how the game fair worked like that. You all went in with a slightly higher price and you had a bit to play with. But nowadays, there's virtually nothing in it. There's nothing in the cartridges. There's nothing in anything at the end of the day. I think the only markup that's still good on stuff is probably clothing at the end of the day, and you've got a bit of play with that.
There's a great saying in the gun trade. I think it's any trading, but to the gun trade, if you want to make a little bit of money in the gun trade, start with a lot.
Pretty much, isn't it? Pretty much. Do you find that the gun shops are working together, or are you all sort of do you struggle? Do you all fight each other?
I've got to be honest with you. I've never known the unity that it has been so good as it is right now. I mean, there's a WhatsApp group for the great dealers. There's loads of trades going in them. And if you get an issue with certain products, we want to find a certain thing, you can put a message on there. 9 times out of 10, you'll get a message back within an hour. Want to help. Like, for instance, recently I had to get a deactivated gun done for a customer, put it on the group, and they gave me 2 or 3 gun dealers that do deactivations in seconds. So they do work together pretty well. I mean, we have a great relationship with, say, for instance, Chris Potter Guns, with whoever swapping stocks and supporting each other, and Mike Lads. And I know your mate, Simon Hadfield, is a great power boss, and we're always doing stuff together. There's times when he'll have guns that stick that you can try and trade out of, but sometimes it feels like we're just swapping around guns and there's no real money changing hands. It's just loads of stock turning over.
Yes, but you never know. Shoving something up to the Midlands, it suddenly goes when it doesn't actually go down in Sussex, kind of thing.
Correct. Yeah, but as a whole, the gun trade's in pretty good place. There's not too many cowboys or sharks out there anymore, so it's all pretty good.
No, that's good. That's the main thing, and it's nice for people to be able to hear from like inside, because obviously a lot of people just look at the shop and they turn up and that's it. But to actually hear from the inside, so you're kind of giving an inside view of how the gun trade kind of works, kind of thing.
Very lucky,
very
and the manufacturers, GMK, really good. They'll support you. As long as you keep your lines of communication open with your suppliers and your colleagues, you'll be fine. If you get into trouble and you ignore people, that's when you get in trouble.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Well, I'm glad that everything's going well, and it's kind of nice to see that you've kind of gone full circle from starting off as the cartridge boy to sort of the manager of the shop now, and back in the family business.
Yeah, you have to come down, Pete, and have a shot with us together.
I will do, definitely. It's just a hell of a long way. I've just done 7.5 hours to get from the Midlands back home, so I think it's about 9.5 to get down to you.
What's up there for you then? Just lots of you're doing your own stalking experiences now, yeah?
Lots of things. The deer stalking, the way of life, the lack of people. It's like Sussex was when we were at school. It's quiet. Yeah. That's the most important part.
And you're doing the stalking experiences now, or was that just a little testing I saw?
No, I do a lot of row stalking up here. I also help a friend out just down at the Angus Glens. We do a bit of red stalking down there. Just basically giving people, getting people out on the hill. I think I've got a couple of we're drawing a competition which we had at the stalking show that comes out tomorrow. So there's a few nice prizes out of that. But it's just one of those things that keeps me up here.
Good man.
Anyway, I think that brings us to a pretty nice conclusion. So thank you for your time, and we'll wrap it up there.
All the best, mate.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bye.
So if you're down in Sussex and you're looking to get yourself a shotgun, possibly a rifle or an air rifle, why don't you pop in and see Ray Ward Guns and see what they can offer you? Mention my name and you never know. You might get some discount. You probably won't, but you might find another tall tale that Johnny's got about me or something along those lines. So always worth it. But do tell him that you have listened to the podcast, and he will, I'm sure he'll be very happy about that. Well, that brings us to the end of episode 34. Thank you ever so much for still listening and obviously helping this grow. Please keep sharing this podcast. The more you share, the more people get to hear about it, and the more reach we get. But thank you again, and we will catch you on the next one.